Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Not Your Echo Chamber with Christopher and Jeremiah Walgast. This is the show where we talk about things you don't want to hear, especially last week's draft. Got a lot of nobody appreciated that as much as we did, very clearly.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that, and you can keep going, and I'm gonna check what.
Yeah. Anyway, so guys, thank you. I can't believe what happened in just the past week with our podcast. But anyway, let me go through our doc here. We're at Twitter, at NoEchoPod. That's capitalized, the first of each letter, no spaces. But if our stats are correct on Spotify for podcasters, Elon Musk will not be letting our Target demo onto his platform. If you could look at the stats, it's like our 0 to 17 is like over 50%. So anyway, we have Twitter, but it hardly matters. But also, last week we drafted fast food restaurants, and you took it down in dominant fashion. I was just destroyed. I have the worst mistake I made was putting up a third option, which was everybody else, and I tied for nothing. Nobody. I came in nobody at the place along with nobody. So me and nobody tied for last place, and you took it down with 75% of the vote.
75%, baby. I really wanted Arby's, but I guess in the end, Arby's was not what I needed.
Yeah, it was kind of weird because we both wanted each other's first pick, and we didn't get it. Anyways.
But let the record show that I won, so I'll put that down in the tally counter as one win for the old Jermeister.
Yeah, you have 1, I have 0 currently at the moment, and nobody else has 0.
We do.
So I'm neck and neck with nobody. Anyway, we're on Twitter, but that's not our main method of communication. I would say main place to communicate with me would either be the YouTube comments or the Spotify comments, because I really pay attention to that stuff there. Also, subscribe to our channel on YouTube because that's where we're going to be releasing videos in conjunction to stories that we tell in the future. So we're going to have life story and weekly update segments on the podcast, and sometimes a video is going to coincide with a topic. That's going to happen today for my weekly update. Ooh. I'm going to edit some of those videos, and some I'm just going to leave them raw, but basically sometimes there's going to be videos that go along with things we say, and yeah, so be looking out for that on the YouTube channel, which is why you should definitely subscribe on there, even if you only listen to the podcast on Spotify.
Plus, it's free to subscribe on YouTube, and it helps us out, a ton. I know it's super cliched, but it's literally, it's free. All you have to do, take 10 seconds out of your day, go click on that subscribe button, and we'll love you forever.
Yeah, plus 200 aura for pressing on the subscribe button.
Straight skibbity riz.
And before I get into anything else on this podcast, which is why I just jumped straight into doing the show doc, is because I cannot believe the outpouring of love that we have gotten for this podcast since we have gone on here. So far, I'm pretty sure we have 10 5-star reviews in the first week of our terrible podcast that nobody liked. Well, even though that's pretty much the show model, is nobody likes us because we're not your echo chamber. Because we had our terrible draft where I slammed Qdoba, which, quick clarification, I didn't mean to slam Qdoba or anything. I wanted it to be my last pick strategically because I didn't think Jeremiah would think of it. I was just trying to contest with the things he might possibly take. So I know I definitely should have done Qdoba, then McDonald's, because he said he wasn't going to take McDonald's. So clearly I disrespected it. And then all those Chick-fil-A, Starbucks people, I can't believe we didn't get any, less star reviews than 5 for how, because we're the only people in existence who think of this things about the restaurants, and I've been to Culver's 3 times in the last month or whatever. So for much as I slam it for being bland, I go there a lot.
Yep, very true.
So yeah, definitely we're gonna be getting better, and our content is gonna be improving. You want to read D?
D, comment, review, and take part in the Spotify polls. So, like he was saying, I kind of control the Twitter account, which means that because I'm busy all the time, I might not always see your stuff. So go to YouTube, go to the Spotify polls, and to vote on the Spotify polls.
Definitely.
And if you can review us in the Spotify, reply to us on Spotify and stuff. If you have stuff that you want to be included in the show, I genuinely somebody tweet at me and tell me how to use Twitter, because I don't know how to use Twitter. So if somebody could teach me how to use Twitter, so that way you guys can give us your draft ideas and would you rather questions, which anyway, I don't want to get ahead of the podcast here. But
also, I pay attention to the polls and comments especially. So even if you have nothing to say, comment for the algorithm's sake, because it helps more people find our podcast and our YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is not doing super well. I imagine it's going to pick up once I start releasing videos on there, like I'm going to do after today's episode. Also, I've heard some people asking us if we're going to do interviews, and the answer is yes. Sometimes they're going to look more like guest-hosted shows, and we may end up releasing like special separate interviews, and we might do double the amount of episodes per week, especially during the summer with interviews and our regular show, but we'll see about that. But anyway, interview shows are definitely part of my dream for this podcast. Thank you for that wonderful burp. And a few other housekeeping items. Next week's show is going to be our Valentine's Day themed show.
You didn't tell me that.
Yeah, I didn't tell you this, but I'm not even sure what it's going to look like yet. Coincidentally, we are currently in a room full of flowers at our church. We're in like the botany room or whatever. We've got like, the fake plants everywhere.
Well, it's where you know your church has those seasonal flowers that go up, and so just pay attention to your church a little more, guys.
Speaking of flowers, also we've got our bud Silas over in the corner.
That was really bad.
I'm sorry. Sorry for the bad. All right, I'm sorry. Okay. Well, all right. So we're going to have a Valentine's Day themed show, which will get heated because we both have an affinity. It's well documented on previous podcasts and other people who know us how much our hate for Valentine flows through everything that we are. So there's definitely slamming Valentine's Day, talking about redeeming it, other things like that. Who knows?
Yeah, I think people may have thought that you were going to say that we both have girlfriends, but we
don't.
No. We can talk about that too on later. We can talk. You know what? Next week, let's abandon the comedy thing. Let's get serious. Episode 3, I think, is a really important time for us to just tone it down, get it serious, and slam Valentine's Day.
Or it might just bug you because you know what? You're prime age. You are.
No, I'm not.
You're.
No.
You could start dating and it would be fine.
Don't you put that on me. Don't you put that on me.
Jesus would think.
Jesus was 33 and he wasn't even married ever. Okay.
That's true. Follow Jesus and Paul's example, I guess. Whatever. But hey, Peter was married and he was number 1 in the Jew squad. So.
What?
If you want to be number 1 in the Jew squad, gotta find yourself. It's your good old honey and locusts, as they say, over in the Bible land.
Why do I feel like that's like the followers of Juice World or the Jew Squad? Like,
hey, that's true. Yeah. All right, Jew Squad. I'm gonna talk about how much I hate Juice World. Anyways, not your echo chamber.
Oh my goodness.
So, also, last housekeeping item. Sorry, it's taking us a little bit to get through this, but future segments will include a discussion where we go in depth on a certain topic, brief asides, and more. So if you have any ideas for segments, types of podcasts, or any other kind of show comment, hit us up in the comments section on Spotify and YouTube. I'm definitely checking those all the time. Like, I check at least twice a day to see if you guys have anything to say. And we can talk off the comments because you can really only put one comment on Spotify. If that's convenient for you, you can do that. YouTube would be better, but definitely we need to get to a place where we can add DMs and talk a little more about this kind of thing. Maybe phone number, who knows, but... Anyway, that's all for that. So, you ready to jump into our weekly update?
Let's do it. The weekly update section where Christopher and I just kind of go over our weeks, like in a little bit. We kind of give some stories, some humorous things, summarize our weeks up. So, I'm going to go first if you don't mind.
All right. Go ahead. What was your week?
Okay, my weekly...
At the convent of college kids.
Yes. So, my first weekly update, I have a confession to make.
You have a girlfriend?
No. Everyone, I'm sorry. I'm getting therapy. Everything is going to be okay, but I am a urinal talker.
No.
For the ladies out there who don't know, there are
what a urinal is.
No, there are some rules, some unwritten rules of the men's restroom. Number 1 is you pee on the toilet more, or me up on the floor more than the toilet. But,
true.
Like, one of the big ones is when you are at the urinal, you do not talk to the other guys because we don't need to get too in depth here, but like
Oh, hey.
but there is when you're at a urinal, there might be like some dividers, but like there's still mostly a lot of lines of sight. Okay, so I wasn't totally bad. Okay, I wasn't talking while I was using the urinal. Okay, I was done, and one of the guys from my class was pulling up. Right, he was pulling into the stall. Okay, he's pulling up, and as I'm turning away, I started to like talk to him, and then I realized, you stupid! He's using the urinal right now. Like, so anyway,
as our podcasting friends, the spitballers like to say, "Excuse me, sir. I'm peeing with my privates right now."
Right. So it's like I'm sorry. That was one of my weekly updates. Another one, less serious or more serious. Sorry, more serious, but actually really exciting. I got picked, or Mr. We don't need to give out his name for the stalkers, but the director of the youth camp that we like to go to asked me to counsel like all 4 weeks of the camp, which includes through the age I am. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be counseling the oldest week, which is like 10th through 12th graders, so I'm not going to be doing that one. But I was talking with the head counselor, and I might get an opportunity to like be like an intern head counselor. So do some counseling for like 3 weeks and maybe like get to help teach at CIT week and
cool.
like that's counselor in training week. And like get to be like intern head counselor for a week or so. So that's a really cool opportunity. So just kind of some cool stuff like that. But yeah, my therapist is. We're working it out. It's going to be okay.
That's cool. I saw the text he put on Slack, but yeah, I didn't read too much in depth to what was going on there. But yeah, that's pretty cool that he reached out to you about that. Yeah, I'm still supposed to sign up for counseling, and I was also gonna do 3 weeks. I was gonna try out for. I've done 1 before. I'm gonna ask about doing 3. I'm sure they won't have too many problems with that. They've had counselors before. Mostly for girls, they'll do 1 and then do 3, or like just do 3 first year. So I'm sure there won't be too much of a problem, but it just depends on how much I can handle it.
Yeah, it comes down to endurance at the end of the summer. But yeah, I don't know how much we want to talk about camp stuff, but we can talk. I could talk to you about counseling. Like it's.
Well, I'm sure there's gonna be more details as this year goes along. There's gonna be more reason to have a weekly update about it.
I got you.
That's cool that we know that now.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of those are my 2 big weekly updates that I wanted to talk about.
All right, so I'm gonna start up my weekly update with the videos I was talking about before. So I was looking through old videos that we take the other day, and I found some not so old ones from a couple years ago when we set up the camera in the room and we were just like turn it on and do random just garbage whenever. We have videos of us doing the most random like cracked out random just junk. Well, I can't even know. I don't even know what the motivation for some of this is.
Well, but it's like that. I feel like that's really where our sense of humor is developed, though. Yeah. Is turn the camera on and go. It was super improv.
Yeah, it was. Anyway, a couple of years ago, we had turned the camera on to like video us doing random stuff. This is the first time this kind of thing is happening in a long time that we've just videoed ourselves, and so these videos are like. They're almost as raw as when we rarely turn on the camera to video ourselves unfiltered as kids. So anyway, a couple ones of note. The first one was this video that you and Anthony, our older brother Anthony, took. You played the guitars and you were doing like some kind of skit thing. And it starts out with you were saying, welcome to our YouTube video. With an idiot and a friend. He's the idiot, and Anthony's like, and I'm the friend. Or something like that. And anyway, it's hilarious because you guys go into it, and you go through all this stuff, and like at the end of the video, you're like, you know what? Let's just sing a song or whatever. And then you guys perform the entire Good Father. And I was just blown away by this, and it was I just love that I have a video of this, of like, you and Anthony are up at college, you've been up there for like, just the 2 of you for like, I don't know, almost a whole year or something. But I found this video, and it's just like incredible because you're doing this funny stuff, and I'm laughing my butt off. And then at the end, you're like, you know what? Let's just perform a song, and I've got a full-on song on there. Now, I was gonna release it to the internet, but for Anthony's sake, I think maybe not. But I did find this other video while I was going through videos, and this video epitomizes our stupidity. Did you see my notes?
I saw your notes.
Okay, so my notes say Laundry Spaceship Rogue One video. Have to watch to understand in parentheses. So this video, that's pretty much the order in which you're doing random crap. Anyway, the laundry video, I'm going to be releasing it onto the channel, and this is 2 years ago, us just being so unfiltered and funny. And this is before it gets a little weird in the video, because a lot of our videos just end up in total weird chaos. So I'm just going to release this video. It's going to be funny. I hope you guys enjoy that. Also, next in my weekly update, I like to clarify, I'm sorry, I messed up. The Mike Malagy's song is Plan A. It's not Plan B. So if you guys looked up the song, you probably didn't find it because it's actually called Plan A. It's weird because he says Plan B more often because he usually says, I don't need a Plan B in his songs. So, yeah. Also, next weekly update part. So last week we mentioned that we were at a library recording. After we recorded that, it was when this story happened. So our friend Silas is actually involved in this story. So him and our friend Matthew are messing around with something. I go over and I'm like, "What are you guys doing?" And Matthew hands me the tape measure, and it's a test. And they don't tell me it's a test. I don't know what's going on. And I open up the tape measure, and they're like, "You passed." So basically, this is the man test. You hand a tape measure to a boy, and if he opens it up and plays around with it, he passes the test. So basically, I turn on my camera and start videoing. So I'm going to release this video as well sometime during the week. And so basically, this is when I turn on the camera, and Matthew basically starts in on the camera, and he says, so we're going to go around, and we're going to see if people pass the test. So he takes the tape measure, he brings it up to you first, and you pass right away. You hand it to him, and I think you may have noticed what was going on. You just grab that thing, you just like, just keep going crazy with that thing. So you definitely passed. Other people didn't. But basically, yeah, walking around, getting people to pass the test. It was just funny that happened. And I just find it funny that I passed the test even though I had no idea what was going on, and there was no camera or anything on me. I was just like, it's playing off the man instinct that when you see a tape measure, you just open it. That's just what you do. You open it and close it, open it, close it. Just do whatever, mess around with it. It's the man litmus test.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's there are certain things that you do, like squeezing the trigger on a drill twice when you pick it up. It's just that's what you do. And yeah, you don't be talking at the urinal.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway, okay. I've got a few more weekly updates, which is weird because I thought I'd have 0. Anyway, the next one is we have this little shack outside of our house on the property, and it's like we live right next to the railroad, and I built this little like shack thing out there. It's very sitcom-y. I can release a picture, but I can do better than that because I recently built a table inside of there. I took like these boards, I cut them diagonally and made this table out of all this stuff. And so I made a cool table in there, and I set it on there, and I go through the house and review stuff in this nerdy voice that I do, and I call myself Little White, and I go through that because my nickname at work is Big White. Talk about that later sometime, but I go through this, and I have my nerdy high-up voice, and I go through there. Anyway, you got to watch the video and see the table that I built like a real man. So yeah, then my last weekly update is just that I went to my friend's basketball conference yesterday. Yesterday of this recording, because we're recording this Sunday. It's going to be released on Monday. But I went to this basketball conference, and it was crazy. Like, I wish, this is a kind of scene I wish I'd been let in on when I was younger, learning, like, how to, like, all these different age groups are playing basketball in all these different courts playing at the same time, and, like, you learn all these team skills and stuff, and it's in this massive inside building, and these communities of, like, all ages, and the teen group is great. They were super nice to me. Anyway, I wished I went to that tournament. It was up at Ripon College, I don't know how to pronounce it. Anyway, there was 7 different courts and 3 gigantic rooms. One of them was just like a ginormous gymnasium that was indescribably just a huge building with a track, with like an indoor Olympic track in it, and there was also the lobby was where people kept all their personal stuff, and there's just crap everywhere, just literally like food all over here, spilled drinks everywhere, crumbs everywhere, backpacks everywhere, trophies everywhere, kids just everywhere.
And you wanted to be let in on this scene earlier?
I definitely want. You have to experience this kind of thing. It's incredible. I hang out with my friend Matthew. He's the one I went to see at this giant tournament. Went to watch him play different games. I watched the JV boys, the varsity girls play all these different games, and it was really cool. I hung out with. We went to Culver's, which is hilarious, and we just hung out and laughed, had a good time, and it was great. I watched basketball for like 12 hours straight. I got basketball fatigue, and it was so loud all the time, but like, I just couldn't believe it. Like, I wish I could get back into that universe. It's like a whole thing on its own. So, are you ready for last week's news? Totally not the first time we're saying this. Definitely didn't cut out that bit right there and put it at the end.
Last week's news?
Are you ready for it right now? This is last week's news. ICE, or Immigration and Customs Enforcement, have been making raids in several cities across the U.S. recently. Key locations including New York City, Chicago, Miami, Phoenix, Denver, and Los Angeles. The government apparently possessed knowledge of many illegal aliens' residences, but the list of threats was accidentally mixed up by the previous administration, who gave a list of harmless selfie-taking grandmas at January 6 instead of dangerous illegals over to the FBI. And unfortunately, due to DEI policies, ICE is only allowed to arrest as many Latinos as they are arresting Black Latinos, White Latinos, and Asian Latinos. These ICE raids have also been being opposed by Elsa, who is a large proponent of ICE, but also Marxism. She's a big supporter of races being extremely out of place in their supposed environment. That's a Frozen 2 joke. Because they're supposedly like in Scandinavia or something, and then there's just this black dude, and there's like, and then there's like some commander general of the army, and then there's like
diversity.
There's these like, I don't know, Native Americans or something, or like island Pacific kind of people, like Moana kind of people, like hanging out in the woods or something.
I mean,
they're so out of place in the setting. Like, the first one, okay, people could say like, oh, it's racist, they only have white people. Yeah, guess what? Every princess story is about white people. If they just injected other races into there, well, guess what? That's actual racism.
Yeah, I mean, we're not opposed to having like people of all colors in movies. It's
exactly,
just, like,
but make it part of the story, and then make it be a reason that they're there, and not just you're filling out the form. Okay, what does this movie have? Does this movie have diversity? Check. Equity? Check. Inclusion? Check. Because you know what? If you make a movie about slavery and you call that racist, well, guess what? What they were doing was abolishing racism. So yeah, there's going to be racism in it, but that's part of the story. So make good stories, and then just whatever happens next, that's just a part of it. Okay, anyway, I get worked up about this stuff.
Get back to the Trump jokes.
All right, next one. Trump recently threatened Colombia with tariffs after President Gustavo Petro initially refused to accept Colombian migrant deportation flights. In a brief mix-up with British Columbia, the price of imported hockey pucks, syrup, and snow temporarily rose before clarifications were made. Trump announced that a 25% and even a 50% tariff would be placed on all Colombian goods if Petro didn't comply. So in response, Colombia agreed to accept the deportees to avoid the tariffs. Trump also made him admit that he was an oranger man than Petro would ever be. Colombia, in turn, raised tariffs itself on U.S. imports by 25%, which could lead to higher prices for goods like coffee, crude oil, and cut flowers. Trump then expanded Drill Baby Drill into perhaps even catchier economic encouragements such as Grind Baby Grind and Snip Baby Snip. Trump's administration recently directed federal prosecutors to limit enforcement of the Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances Act, FACE, which was used to defend abortion mills by making it illegal to interfere with people seeking to kill an unborn baby's life. Now we can finally say it. Cecil Richard is rolling in her grave. The new directive instructs prosecutors to only enforce the law in extraordinary cases such as property damage, extreme bodily harm, death, or wanting to see a beautiful human being created in the image of God spared from premature, premeditated murder. Margaret Sanger, also the face of Planned Parenthood, is now also rolling in her grave. Caroline Leavitt recently made her debut as the youngest press secretary in American history at age 27. Already she has shown her worth in the position and has not requested to circle back to anything or pull the gay black Fifth Amendment stunt. In her first press briefing, she clarified that recent East Coast drone sightings were FAA approved for research purposes, but that the Federal Aviation Administration wanted to act like they had a big secret so they would seem mysterious and cool and so people at school might like them. Enough Trump news. Now for some war news.
War.
On a lighter note, Rwanda-backed M23 rebels recently captured Goma, eastern Congo's biggest city, which was a major hub for displaced people and aid groups, but have led to mass panic among the city's 22 million residents, especially when they saw C-3PO with the rebels and thought he was a god. The Congolese...
Ewok joke?
It was mostly a jungle joke.
Okay.
The Congolese government has called the rebel advance a declaration of war and have already deployed scout troopers on speeder bikes to address the rebels. The rebels also took control of the airport in Goma, cutting off their main route for aid to be sent to the displaced people. The United Nations described the situation as tense, especially when Luke Skywalker showed up in the throne room to duel with Darth Vader. 4 Israeli soldiers were released by Hamas as part of their exchange agreement. In response, an uncharacteristically silent Kamala Harris finally stood up and clapped, waking Joe Biden, who blinked and stared vacantly at his nursing home television. He then stumbled over and affixed a Joe Biden "I did that" sticker needily to the screen and said, "Watch this next part, Jack. It was all my doing, not a joke." The United States then proceeded in solidarity to also give Hamas $200 billion, $500 billion in U.S. weaponry, and 20 captured terror suspects in exchange for nothing.
And their gas prices went up, too.
Yeah, that's true. Sudan's largest oil refinery was set ablaze during a civil conflict between the Sudanese military and RSF rebels, each claiming that the other side bombed the facility in the war. But later, the rebel Rapid Support Forces finally acknowledged their activity, taking credit for perfectly firing proton torpedoes into the exhaust port to blow up the main reactor after a 12-minute trench run, using only hope, a ghostly Obi-Wan voice, and the Force. Thick black smoke billowed from the oil fires, raising respiratory risk and cancer exposure. But don't worry, the Sudanese government held up their end of the Green New Deal and dyed the toxic fumes key lime to appease AOC.
Yay!
Speaking of bombing oil refineries, Ukrainian drones have recently targeted just that in certain Russian regions in a recent series of attacks on the infrastructure. They were successful even without the American-funded corruption and drugs Volodymyr Zelensky has come to love about the war. Google Maps is committed to positively responding to the Trump administration's renaming of the Gulf of Mexico and Mount Denali in accordance with the change to the Geographic Names Information System. The change will be direct for the American version, while international viewers will view multiple names. And the British version will still label the entire planet as "should have been ours."
That's good.
Serbia's Prime Minister, Milos Vucaric, gotta be careful with that name, resigned after weeks of anti-corruption protests sparked by the deadly collapse of a train station's concrete canopy that killed 15 people, as well as by the terrible pun I'm about to make. When Vukovic heard the collapse, he realized there will be an outrage over this. The incident highlighted government corruption, and Serbia's parliament has 30 days to call an election or reform its government. However, it's not all over for former Prime Minister, who has been offered to advise the GOP on how to effectively lower the debt ceiling before it all ends in a train wreck. DeepSeek, an AI chatbot created by a Chinese tech startup, recently gained attention and made AI stocks plummet when it hit the market. Its groundbreaking chatbot, R1, is praised for its performance and advanced reasoning features despite the company experiencing brave cyber attacks. It single-handedly made internet company NVIDIA experience a $600 billion loss in a single day, breaking U.S. value loss history and surprising zeros of people that intangible assets can lose their value. The bot's major drawback, however, is its obvious bias towards appeasing the CCP and glazing over my question about what world leaders happen to look like popular animated Disney cartoon character Winnie the Pooh. It became the #1 free app in the Apple Store, followed by Red Note, TikTok, and new Chinese app Quick Docs, where you can just directly hand over all of your personal information to the Chinese Communist Party without having to go through AI. Tragically, 29 people have died during the California wildfires. But hey, on the bright side, at least Gavin Newsom can pay for $1,000 for hair gel every day, right? But apparently not referring to the amount of gel in his hair, California rains recently have aided fire extinguishment while also creating detrimental mud flows that create toxic ash runoff. This is historically the first non-political mud in California in years. Upon hearing about the mud, the effect of which is indeterminately different on the streets of Los Angeles than its typical coloring, and the rain in California, Newsom protested, "Hey, I'm the only one who gets to rain in California." Former U.S. Senator Bob Menendez was sentenced to 11 years in prison due to involvement in a bribery plot. He was charged for bribery, obstruction of justice, and being an unregistered foreign agent. He accepted many mediums of value for his interest in Congress, including cash, gifts, gold bars, emeralds, diamonds, and nether quartz. Apparently, he was a lobbyist for Hypixel as well as other private Minecraft servers. He maintains his innocence, as well as now rank number 1 in potato output. The Canadian freighter Manitoulin got stuck in ice on Lake Erie near Buffalo after realizing a little too late that Lake Erie is not like the seas of maple syrup that they are used to sailing on back home. The U.S. Coast Guard assisted in working together with the Canadian Coast Guard to help free the ship. Sorry about that, the relieved crew apologized. Later information revealed that the reason the ship had become stuck was because the ship's captain had gone too far to the left, and the Canadians were in the process of trying to get a new captain who knew how to steer to the right when the mess happened. Bangkok is currently experiencing severe air pollution, with the air quality levels reaching an unhealthy amount. To combat the pollution, the Thai government advised several measures, including free public transportation, work-from-home directives, school closures, vehicle emissions checkpoints, social distancing, vaccines, doing those most popular trends, and they have also taken the liberty of banning the further sale of gas-powered rickshaws by 2028. The government has also taken advice from the only individual who has ever successfully taken care of a smog problem before, Bard the Bowman. Elon Musk's orbiting Tesla Roadster was accidentally mistaken for and named as a new asteroid with a minor planet center. The celestial feature was recognized and corrected, however, and the MPC simply renamed the heavenly phenomena its proper name. It's a bad asteroid. The Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs are set to face off in Super Bowl LIX on the 9th in New Orleans, making it the first bowl in Louisiana that was meant for sporting events instead of holding gumbo. After the tragic events in that city after a terrorist attack on New Year's, trucks will clearly be frowned upon to be driven into the city for the event, except in the case of football players such as Daniel Follell, who attend. That guy's a truck. Kendrick Lamar and SZA will be performing during halftime show, as if Taylor Swift, the Chiefs, and Deja Vu is not off-putting enough about the whole event. Before their defeat last week, Bills fans posted on social media a Kermit the Frog doll dressed as Patrick Mahomes hanging on a noose, making fun of both the Chiefs quarterback's voice and team. Mahomes responded in very chill form to the harsh visual on social media with a gif of Kermit the Frog sipping tea. Maybe that gif shows me that I rooted for the wrong team last Sunday. Or maybe it's just to help with the voice. Who knows? Anyway, this has been last week's news. Sorry it was so long. I'll shorten it next week. And always remember, only Christopher's opinions of the news matter. Repeat line, end of speech. So that's all I have for last week's news. You guys, you ready to move on to our media review? Alright, so for media review this week, I have a bunch of stuff. We're going to do a great big media review section instead of a draft or something at the end of the show. We were going to do some Would You Rather, but we kind of ran low on time for recording it, so we're just going to do our reviews. We're going to do a big focus on 2010's pop today.
2010's pop?
Which was your... that's what you wanted to do for the podcast today.
That was what I wanted to do.
So we have a bunch of songs we're going to go through. I think we're just going to name them off and talk about them, maybe if we need to, but... after that, I have a bunch of other stuff I want to go through, like something that's going to be... I need to have something off-putting about the show today, so I'm going to rip into Kesha later, the special segment that I invented all by myself, so I guess you want to start it off? You have some songs you wanted to talk about?
I do, and the first one, okay, 2010's pop we're talking about. Now, I would like to open this segment by saying... It was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
It was totally the worst.
But they wrote like certified bangers.
Yeah.
In the 2010s, but
You can't beat those wedding songs though. Those essential wedding songs. That's what I'm gonna focus on.
Yeah, kind of, sort of a thing. Okay, this song technically, if you want to get all technical, this song missed the era by 1 year. Came out in 2009.
2009.
But
I would consider that still 2010s because technically the era is beginning.
the song, I heard it on the radio at the beginning of the week. Have listened to this song over under 20 times so far this week. Like several times a day. Try and play it once a day because such a an incredible song. For those of you who are my Jay Sean fans out there, guys, the song Down by Jay Sean, I can't figure out if the drum beat is I can't figure out if the drum beat is super cringe or the greatest drum beat of all time. His voice is incredible. I mean, you've got for family friendly factor, you've got your it's like your classic love song stuff. Your classic pop stuff. So it's kind of like, what are we doing here? It's like we really didn't need to say that, but it's nothing really bad, I don't think. I mean, Lil Wayne is in this song too, so there's a little bit. But I mean, it's classic pop stuff. So if you can get over that, it's a banger, and I can tell by the way that you are not jumping in here that you haven't heard it before.
Yeah, I've never heard it. I'm looking at my list of pop songs right now.
But Sauce is jamming out over there in the corner, and once this podcast is over, I will be playing this song out loud for you because it is so good. It is so good.
Anyway, I actually had something I kind of wanted to talk about relating to that. I had this thought that I was thinking about the other day. It was like a bit of a challenge in modern music. I like to call it the beat versus melody problem. And basically what this problem is as more and more melodies are created, less and less melodies are to be created. So instead of focusing on trying to be extra creative, come up with new melodies nobody's ever heard before, people are turning to the beat instead of trying to create new melodies. So the melodies being outsourced by the beat, and I like beat, and I am a big fan of Christian rap, but you got to have some melody in there. There's got to be some melodic, otherwise you're just talking with something playing in the background, and it's not really music. A big part of music, I think, is melody, and you can't take that part of it away. And as we're running out of that's why I appreciate when I hear new melodies, especially from Sam Rivera. He's one of the artists I like. Nothing to do with pop, but I appreciate his melodies. They're new melodies that I actually like especially Drive and Let Go. Those songs, I love those songs because they've got melody and they're not just like plain vanilla beat. So that's some of my thoughts on that. I appreciate good melody and good beat, and beat does not take precedence over melody. I would say they're important in different ways, but I definitely appreciate when I hear a new melody over a new beat, because beat, the beat can fall into this system of just being eventually that you've heard all the beats that there are, and melody is it's so infinite because there's so many different instruments and so many different sounds you can make, and then so many different that kind of thing. Anyways, I have some songs from the 2010s. Basically, I'm just gonna run through them here. Shut Up and Dance by Walk the Moon.
It's on top of my list.
That one is just incredible.
Shut up and dance.
I mean, very epitomizing of weddings I've been to. That song, I love that song. Call Me Maybe. There's clearly another one at the top. I've heard it called the song that everyone's ashamed to love. Every dude is just I don't Call Me Maybe. That song's for girls, and they're and then in the back you got your big headphones on. Yeah, let's jam it out to Carly Rae. Also, I never got into One Republic during the era of 2010s pop, but definitely they've got some songs that I found later on. Other songs from that era, I mean, clearly some NF. I mean, he was pretty big on the scene back then. Clearly, Let You Down, big fan of that. I loved Let You Down so much. Also, if you were to ask me one song that just basically summed up our entire generation living 2020 to 2020, the song I would pick, definitely Believer. That song was definitely, I don't know if it was number one, but that song was the song of the generation. Like I don't even like that song very much, but that song was the song of the generation.
By Imagine Dragons.
Yes.
Okay, it's hot take time. Get ready.
Boy.
So what do you not like about this?
Imagine Dragons sucks. I don't really like his voice. It's not good, and all of his beats sound like he's walking forward by like tripping and falling. It's like like it sounds like you're walking, and every beat is like your foot just like slamming into the ground at full force. Like everything is just a slam. Like there's no. It doesn't like flow. It like slams forward. Do you know what I'm saying?
I can't argue with that.
Like boom, you pick me up, pick me up. I mean, he's just slamming around. Like, come on, man.
I don't like the voice. Also, I think he's trying to be abstract like Owl City. Like Owl City does abstract well. He does not. He does like, does this weird like. I'm not a big fan of demons. I'm a big fan of whatever it takes.
I mean, demons aren't cool. Like demons are like bad angels.
That's true.
They're not.
But the thing about his music is, it's like so close to something good. Every time I listen to it, I'm like, bro, you're so close, and then you just like. Well, I'll just do this part, and then there's like one thing that he messes up. I'm like, can I teach you music?
Well, it's like this. So you hear one of those songs, and then you say, nah, honey, I'm good.
Yeah, that was gonna be my next one as well. That song is such a banger, and I've made a video with that. Check out my other YouTube channel, BuckDeck2. That's for my edits. I've got one on there with Discord quotes about my friend Matthew and him reacting with some music. Next one I love the song Owl City, Good Time. This is probably one of the biggest ones, along with When Can I See You Again by Owl City.
I know, I just want to put Owl City's entire catalog
I know, I love Owl City, he's so good. Like,
if you like the lyrics are a little random and weird, so you don't have to worry about anything
it's
like
very abstract, yeah, it's very abstract.
But his synth is so good, and he's
unmatched.
He's only gotten better going into the 2020s as well. Like his synth is so good, his beats are really good, and he's very like his sound, his voice is so like beautiful, and his songs just flow.
Since he makes his own music, he does everything himself. I'm always trying to find another artist who's like him to get some new stuff, but there's no one. I just can't find a single person that synths like him, that does the beat like him, that does the words like him. It's just like, I can't believe it.
I love how we're like you know, Imagine Dragons, like one of the biggest bands of the 2010s. We're like, you're garbage, man, and then we're like, but this little niche artist, like people know him from Fireflies. Okay, that's how people know Owl
He's
City.
10 million too. He's this guy. He's got over 10 million followers on Spotify, so people know who he is. He's a number in the world. He might not be big enough to be like which place in the world, but people still know who he is for Fireflies. Which Fireflies is another good one that people know.
Yep, he's number one in my heart.
Also, another one that you can't avoid because you can't stop it. Can't stop the feeling.
Can't stop the feeling. Yeah.
You just gotta dance that song. I mean, when you hear that song, it's the song of our generation that you just can't not react to. Just break out dancing. That song is so good.
Put that Trolls on. Turn that Trolls on full volume.
Yeah, put that Trolls on repeat. Along with this next one, which is also a wedding song, High Hopes.
Yeah, that one's on my list.
That's another wedding song, a big wedding song.
Also, like I was kind of realizing this. I'm gonna throw one in if you're okay with that.
Yep.
Is like, what I realized is that these guys from the 2010s, man, they were like singing in the rafters because I love the song Payphone by Maroon 5.
Ooh, that song's so good.
But I just can't get my voice up there, man.
Yeah,
like,
me neither. I just whispered it because my voice cracked.
I can't do it. I can't I have to go like falsetto to get up there.
The other one that's kind of like that is what's the one on a hill across the blue lake? That's where I had
Don't you worry, child.
Don't you worry. I heard that song again for the first time like a couple days ago. That song is so good.
It also it has like a little bit of theology too. Like,
yeah,
heaven's got a plan for you. Like that's good.
It's true. I don't know if the dude's a Christian though, or if he might just be using the Christian label as like a way to say the word God.
Yeah, I don't know. You don't know anybody's heart, but it's nice to hear something that's not like Kesha's garbage.
I know. Speaking of Kesha's garbage, we'll get into that later. Yacht Club by Owl City and Lights.
Yeah, that one's a little
guilty pleasure. That one's a bit of a little...
Preview that one before you play it before your kids. It's nothing real bad, but it's a little, it's a little special.
It's a little on the edge. Yeah, you don't want to play that one right away for him. I like a lot of songs from like the this era of, I guess you would call it the 2020s. I don't feel
That's
like
what- yeah,
I
I
like
was-
calling songs into that era because I'm just like, because
That's it.
we're living in that era, so it's hard to determine what that era actually is.
I was gonna say, if you had brought up Lil Boo Thang, I looked it up. Lil Boo Thang is 2023.
I know.
So
I heard it when it came out. I was obsessed with that song when it came out because they had it on the what do you call it, on
Macy's.
NBC during Macy's parade. That's when it came out. But it's such a 2023 quality song, and I was listening to remixes of that on the way home to church today. On the way to church today, and it was so good. I mean, that song was all around great song. Yeah, but that's pretty much all the ones I have.
Well, there's a really important one that you're forgetting.
Tell me what it is.
Because look, man, you don't know you're beautiful, and
Is that from? I
And
thought that
that's
one was
what-
from 2025 or 2020. I thought that one was
what
from,
makes you beautiful, dude? That's One Direction.
Yeah, I thought that was 2024. Hold on, that
What-
one is that one is.
What makes you beautiful?
Wait, it is what?
Dude,
I'm just
that's
looking
one
it
of
up.
the most iconic pop love songs of all time.
I never heard that song till like 2024. I'm not even
Dude,
kidding
that's
you.
crazy.
I'm looking at the album now and I'm shocked. It says 2012 on it.
Yes,
It's the number one song on Up All Night.
yes,
I'm
sir.
shocked right now.
Wait, what?
I had no idea.
I had no idea at all. Breaking news.
Yeah.
Christopher learns that One Direction is for a 2010s band.
Well, yeah, I knew Harry Styles was from 2010. I just didn't know that song, that was one that was released.
Oh yeah, that song's a banger.
Wow.
So good.
Okay. Anyway, that's all the songs that I have. So.
I only have two more on here, and those are Perfect by Ed Sheeran and Just the Way You Are by Bruno Mars.
Oh, Just the Way You Are. Okay. That song's okay.
That one's it's like it's a little don't play for kids.
Yeah,
but-
especially what he says about her laugh.
Yeah, no, we don't. You want to be really careful with Bruno Mars. I don't promote Bruno Mars.
Nope.
On occasion he has songs that like, for all the 2010 songs that were not Owl City, you might want to give them a quick listen through.
Yeah.
I don't think we didn't look, guys. For those of you who like the explicit songs, you suck. No, I'm just kidding. You're fine people, but like, just like,
There's like two explicit songs that I like. One's Truck Bed and what is it? I Had Some Help. That's it. That's it. Those two are bangers, but those are 2020. So
the one thing that I was gonna say, T-Pain writes bangers, like absolutely bangers, but they're just don't go there. Like, it's like you have to be in a mood where you're like, okay, I am not endangering my spiritual state right now. Like I can look past the garbage, but so like, I mean, look, I know that people are huge fans of that, but I was talking to my dad last night, and it's like, when we review stuff for this show, we look for three big things. And the number one thing that we look for in movies, books, TV shows, music, when we're reviewing it, is there garbage that really doesn't need to be in this book, show,
Definitely.
TV? And so when you're like throwing stuff out there, like, look, Owl City with My Muse has proven that you can write a beautiful love song.
exactly.
That's a great banger without the inappropriate stuff. But
That's
yeah,
because it's about his wife too.
well, yes, because that's what we're about. We're about
We're about
commitment,
singing love songs about your wife. Definitely.
because yeah.
Because otherwise, if it's someone else's wife.
Well, okay, it could be your girlfriend. It doesn't have to be someone else's wife.
Moving on. Okay, so yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, I see where the tie-in is.
So we're gonna move into my segment now. This is my special little segment. You can join in with me, but I'm going to rank. I'm gonna start from 6 and work my up to 1. My 6 least favorite Kesha songs, which happen to be 7 of her top songs. So
Let's do this.
we're gonna start at the bottom.
Hold on, really quick. Here, let me grab the body bag so we can throw Kesha in it.
I don't want to get anywhere near stupid.
You're true. You're true.
Ugh. But basically, Kesha's a garbage human being. I have no idea what is wrong with her. She's like.
I the beats and the music are like so catchy. Like, they'll get stuck in your head, and then you'll be like, "Oh no, am I singing Kesha right now?"
Her voice is like white. She's trying to be BA nasal white girl, and it's like,
Well, it's okay.
it's under my skin.
The thing is, like, I think we've talked about this before. It's like, it sounds like she wants to sing something inappropriate.
Yeah, that's
like,
right. You can tell in the tone of her voice. Like, you can tell by the tone. She knows what she's doing, and she's like, yeah, I'm being a bad girl.
Yeah. That was a real recording, and I want to punch the recording of Kesha right now.
Interview with Kesha coming soon.
Yes. That might not... Bad podcast.
Wake up in the morning.
No, okay. Let's just talk about the songs you hate.
All right, I'm going to start with... Going from 6 to number 1, I'm going to start with number 6, Right Round.
Good pick.
I'm put that at the bottom because it's the most bearable. Definitely the most bearable.
Okay.
It's got another guy in it. I have no idea who he is.
I'll check that. I'll get that so we can...
All the lyrics of these I'm going to tell you are bad. I'm going to say more than 6 of them are... more than 6 of the 6 songs are definitely explicit. She's a very explicit artist. Also, her themes are just like... I can't imagine... dreaming of this world that she's trying to come up with to be the dream world. Like, you're dreaming about growing up and living in the club and doing all this crap, and like, I don't know, it's just
it's Florida, and definitely don't look up the cover.
Oh yeah, well don't even look up the cover of my number 1 either. It's just all of her songs are just what is wrong with you. Anyway, next song 5. Die Young. So
good
talk
pick.
about a song that just starts out with a bad meaning right on the front of it.
It's
I know.
another
Another bearable song, but like
it's so like if it had better words, like dude, I would be cranking this thing.
I know if she was singing something that was worth listening to, I'd be all over that.
It would be great.
So next one, Blow.
Wait, this isn't like a song that you sing after you've like sung the happy birthday song to someone.
This place about to blow.
I don't look. I'm gonna be honest, dude. I'm looking at your list. I see 3 songs that I actually know by Kesha.
Okay. Anyway, this one I hear it at work. All these songs are songs I hear at work all the time, and I hate it, especially the number 1. So let me keep going with this. Anyway, Blow. Hate that song. It's more bearable than these top 3 are the ones that's like the bearable level goes instantly down. My number 3 is TikTok. Hate that song.
It's another one that if it was better, I would listen to it all the time.
That's the one I started singing. I know if she did that one, it would be bearable. If she did like real, actually good lyrics, or like a Paul Russell style, like very ambiguous lyrics, I'd be like all over that song. They don't even have to be holy as long as they're ambiguous. Just clip that audio. It doesn't matter if it's holy as long as it's ambiguous. That's my favorite kind of religion. Anyway,
Jesus won't notice.
Anyway, number 2, Timber. I hate that song.
Let me say one thing. The song is so catchy. And so never listen to it because I know that you will get it stuck in your head. But here's the thing. I'm going to take this quick moment to say shout out to potentially the greatest artist of the 2010s and potentially the greatest artist of the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s,
Steve
the
Winwood?
2010s, the 2020s, and I'm sure the 2030s.
Rick Astley?
No.
Who's it?
His name is kind of a weird name.
What is it?
Because it's Weird Al.
Oh.
Dude, Weird Al's parodies are so good. He has a version that's called Now That's What I Call Polka. That's a ton of 2010s pop songs, but in polka version. Be very careful with it because he does do a couple songs like, I believe it's Appa Gangnam Style, which is, it's that one's one that I wouldn't suggest. So, but it's like, so again, give it a listen before, but if you can get past the stuff that's kind of bad, Weird Al sings this song way better than Kesha does. Also, Pitbull. Let's back the bus over Pitbull.
That's
please.
true. Oh, you know what's funny? My coworker actually likes I'm in the gasolina. She actually likes that song, like, Gasolina. It's so like repetitive and Spanish nasal. It's like
that's not racist. It's just a style we don't get.
Yeah, no bueno, Chihuahua. Anyways, number 1 song that I hate, Joyride. That song is so bad. It's like, that one's definitely explicit. Don't look it up. Don't look up Kesha. Don't look up the cover. Don't look at the lyrics. The lyrics are just wholly unholy, and just the whole song is just disgusting. It's just like, there's nothing redeemable about the song whatsoever. Like, not even the beat. The melody is just like, oh, so bad. I can't believe how bad it is. Anyway, that's my ranking of those. I had some more media things I wanted to go through. I wanted to recommend a few more songs, if that's okay. I have like 3 songs I can recommend.
Sure, shoot.
Take On Me by Aha. I just realized what that song is today. Have you ever heard that song? Well, I mean, I've guaranteed you've heard that song, but do you know offhand what that song is?
It's about taking on an apprentice and teaching them how to be a blacksmith like their father before them.
I'm sorry, but that is not correct. But you know the song.
Well, obviously. I mean, clearly, that song.
You know that song. I guarantee you know that song.
I love how the audio is like, perfect spikes.
Yeah, you know Take On Me. I can guarantee you know that song.
I know that song.
But it's such a banger. That song. I watched a video of a guy shooting to the beat of that song on YouTube. Anyway, look up Gun Drummer if you want any more of that in your life. Anyway, for my song, I want to another recommendation is "New Way to Be Human" by Switchfoot. That's like it's post Reputation Switchfoot. That's before Dare You to Move and Meant to Live and.
Wouldn't that be pre-Reputation?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Sorry, it's pre-Reputation Switchfoot. I put it into the show doc wrong. Anyways, but it's before Switchfoot got super popular, and it's a great song. I love it. There's a new way to be human. It's basically singing about how we made all these other ways to be human. Like we make other people. We worship other people instead of God. We worship processes and things instead of God. And instead of living in relationship with God, we're living in relationship of all these things that really don't matter in the grand scheme of things, and following trends instead of following, the things we should be following. Anyway, Mike Malagi's just released this new song, Hard. Definitely recommend that. It's a rap, Christian rap. Love Christian rap, especially Mike Malagi's. He goes hard. I also just finished, this is my last thing I'm going to do. I just finished Ender's Game. It's a book by Orson Scott Card.
Okay.
It's a really good book. It's sci-fi. It's like basically a future world where this boy, he's the third child in his family, which is like unthinkable for the time.
Okay.
He's like born, he's like a special request by the government for them to have a third child because like his older brother and older sister were like too far, and his older brother is way too violent and angry, and his sister is way too like kind and generous. So they saw how intelligent they both were all together, and like they had to have a third child, which would be a combination of both of them. And basically, he goes to like a battle school where they're pushing him hard 100% of the time. They're pushing him to perform all the time at battle school, like for years and years and years. And eventually, he's supposed to fight off aliens that are trying to take over the world. And meanwhile, while he's in space training, his brother and sister are planning to take over the world and deconstruct the Warsaw Pact and anonymously gain power because the older brother is very manipulative. So anyways, Ender's Game, recommend the book. Definitely not for younger kids. Family friendly rating. I would definitely give it a rating of family. If you're talking family friendly, I definitely give it 2 out of 10 to 1 out of 10 because there's a lot of, it's an army school, so there's a lot of, if you're not currently fighting, there's no reason for you to be wearing clothes. So there's this like epitome scene in the bathroom where like these boys are beating up on the main character, and basically while he's taking a shower, they just comment like they're there to beat up on him. So also there's a lot of just like, yeah, they made a movie out of it, but I assume they took some of this stuff out of there. And I've also heard that the movie's bad and nothing to do with the book. So anyways, I definitely recommend Ender's Game, the book. And that's basically the last thing I wanted to, basically.
You can give it a non-family friendly, like
non-family friendly,
like your rating, just your rating of the book as a whole.
As a good piece of literature, I would give it a rating of, I would say, as a book, definitely 10 out of 10. I've never read anything like it. Like I've read The Giver. The Giver I didn't like that book. I read The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. Didn't like that book. I like Journey to the Center of the Earth, but I'd give that one a 7 out of 10. It was a bit conventional. But definitely Ender's Game, I've never read anything like it. Like the author, he's on a different level. I can't even comprehend it. Anyways.
But yeah, it's like, dude, people maybe think that like we're dumb or whatever, but we could totally, like, next episode, we could just bust out like
we could talk on like a book episode.
We could do that. Like, dude, I've read all kinds of, like, I don't even think people realize this about me. Like my friends, I don't think my friends realize how many like pieces of classical literature I read.
That's true, yeah. We can do, with the Valentine's Day episode, we can just do a Valentine's Day segment, and we can do a book episode. So I like how we're playing the podcast on the podcast.
I know. Let's talk more about
But anyways, it's the end of the podcast. So do you want to close us out?
Okay, let's
prayer.
Okay. Everybody, please fold your hands and bow your heads. It's okay. You can unfold your hands. Okay. All right, so thank you guys for listening today. This has been another great episode of Not Your Echo Chamber. Remember to, if you don't want anybody to pay attention, not really, but you can reach out to us at Twitter at NoEchoPod. You can get to us on YouTube now. The YouTube channel is fully
Not
released.
Your Echo Chamber podcast, and also comment and subscribe and follow on Spotify and YouTube. Definitely comment if you have something to say, anything to say at all. Helps with the algorithm media if you have nothing to say.
Yeah, we appreciate your guys' reviews were awesome, so thank you. Keep those coming. We love you guys. We love making this podcast, and we're just going to keep getting better and better. And I don't remember what the outro thing was, if we said anything last week, but anyway, this has been Jeremiah Christopher for Not Your Echo Chamber podcast, so get out there and make your own opinions.
Yep, it doesn't matter if you don't like my opinions on Kesha or Jeremiah's opinions on about the song he was raving about.
Oh, I love Jason.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you don't agree with us, because it's not your echo chamber. Bye.
A whole new world.
Okay, we don't need any of that. All right, are you ready for last week's news? Hold on.
Thanks, Silas.
A little bit of a preview there. Anyways,
What?
have you ever seen it? Have you ever seen a picture of him? He is quite orange. Like he's more orange than Donald Trump.
I have not.
The bro is crazy orange.
Hold on, what's the name? You read the next story. I'll just be
It's Gustavo Petro.
Okay.
So it's Gustavo and then Petro, like as in rock, but with a, yeah, like petroleum basically. Yeah.
Okay.
Which actually ties into my next joke.